This episode of Speakers of Eidolon is made possible by our generous patrons, like Omhgad Comet, Saray Cypher, Hans Grenade, Anna Ginteres, Bob Cece, Faris Gentoru, Cletus Oreo, Luke Leonetrell, Sapa Chakwatol, Courtney, Circa Barakil, Casey Schaefer, Lily Black, Chaitan, Cheshire Soltiri, Erisu Yamakawa, Ciceri Fulalirifu, Daimos, Nina Grimsdaughter, Asuta Starbreeze, Quick Levin, Sayori Snowfall, Ignal the Dragon, Uana Nitsa, Miscellaneous Cargo, Duke Jarlsberg, Stella Bell, Thora Aurora, Boogie Bear, Remy Asalia, Cirrus, Icy Lee, Lyria Rain, CNG Lipscomb, Dalamud Papodo, Kaisa Regina, Pamela Isley, Umbral Wind, and Velina Evensong. Support the show and become a patron today at patreon.com/speakersxiv. Thank you.
This is Speakers of Eidolon.
Good evening, Yorsins. Welcome to Speakers of Eidolon, episode 159. I'm Likeel Bravestone, and I'm joined today by Georgi Wiston and Mala Vanadar.
Hello.
What? Okay. Welcome, everyone, to episode 159. It is August 31st when this episode aired. The last day of August. Goodbye, August. Goodbye, summer. We're entering a darker period. Well, not for you, Georgi, because you're in topsy-turvy land.
Oh, that's true.
And
Don't
Well,
remind
it's
me.
your spring.
it's
No.
your spring.
Yeah.
Spring is good. I like spring. I don't like the part that comes after spring.
Spring.
Oh, God. Can't wait for Christmas
I
when we're all,
cannot.
like,
it-
huddled around the fire and Georgi's melting in the background.
My brain does not accept it. It doesn't accept that anyone can call September spring.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's
but
all I've
that's-
ever known.
I know. That's just how it is. Anyways, in this episode of Speakers of Eidolon, we're going to talk about. Well, there's some interviews with Yoshi-P, so we're going to go through those today. Twinfinite is one of them. I think PC game.
Zen.
PC Games N.
Ah, there you go. So we'll read through that. There's some interesting questions there and answers, of course. Weird, it was just questions. Just a list of questions with no answer. And of course, patch 5.08 was released this week. Probably not the most exciting patch we've ever had. But we'll go through some of the interesting stuff regardless. And of course, we will read MogMail today. We will read MogMail today, I promise. And stay tuned for the post-show if you're watching live. Believe it or not, we actually know what we're talking about in the post-show. We'll be talking about Guild Wars 2 and Final Fantasy 8. So, and we'll also be watching a cursed video, but that's that's just typical post-show shit. Right, what have we done in 14 this week? Anyone care to start? I know Georgi always starts, so today, Mala.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, we have made some progression in Eden 2, whatever that one's called. That was kind of fun. It seems okay. I feel like this might be one we can also clear.
Yes.
Stop saying that as if there'll be a wall.
Oh, there will be a wall.
I did the Rising. I did it a little later than these guys, but I've done that. That was cool. We'll talk about that. Well, I've done a huge amount else than that this week.
Yeah.
I've kind of just done timestone stuff. I need to level other stuff, but I just can't be bothered. To be honest.
Yeah.
I want to have the new deep dungeon or something. I don't want to do trusts to level up really, and I definitely don't want to do roulettes on a DPS job at least. So,
right, yeah,
I don't know what to do on it.
Yeah.
That's me.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
I hadn't felt I hadn't felt like leveling for a while, but this week I was able to get myself back into it. I kept my Black Mage on my main, and then I also finished off Botanist and Miner. So I finished that quest line.
Right.
I actually liked the end of it. I didn't like the quest line before it much.
What
and I've
quest
started
line?
the Facet of Gathering quest line.
Right. Yes, yeah.
And I started leveling my Fisher as well. So that's...
Blah.
I know. Some people. I know fishing's not for everyone. I find it kind of relaxing.
I hate
Yeah,
fishing.
fishing's something I'm sort of still saving.
I hate it and I love it. If it makes sense, I like it because it's so different from the other gathering classes.
Yeah.
But I also hate it because it's like RNG. Like,
True.
Yeah.
I will never forget the Titanic sawfish. I know it's easy to get it now, but my god, the hours spent like in a 2 AORC an hour window, or was it 4? I can't remember. And weather, hate it. But it's
But
nice.
that's sort of what's fun about it as well, because
Yeah.
then you can finally brag about it.
Yeah.
How'd you like
That's-
80 Black Mage, Gogi?
80 Black Mage. I haven't done anything as 80.
Come on.
So you've just
I got
dinged
it.
to 80.
Yeah, I dinged it, and then I haven't touched it since then.
I see.
I like 79 Black Mage, so I have to assume I like 80 because
Yeah.
all it is an extra Xenoglossy.
Yeah. What a contrarian you would be if you didn't like Black Mage at level 80.
That's
No,
true.
I don't understand why level 80 would be the turning
Yeah.
point. For some.
Yeah. You'd be,
I
actually,
don't like it.
it's good up to level 79, but it really dips at 80. Okay. Anything else?
What
or
have you done, Lakil?
I've done more or less. I said that I had something to share today. Didn't really have anything to share.
Oh
because
my god.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't as exciting. What I wanted to say though, what I have done is I've just recorded shit for Roar, but I also started leveling. I unlocked and when I unlocked Gunbreaker the first time, I didn't do the quest
Oh yeah.
because I wanted to save it. I don't know what I was doing, and then I thought I remembered where the quest started, so I spent like 30 minutes in the wrong zone looking for the NPC. I'm like, I could have sworn, and I'm like, maybe there's no quest marker, and I refused to Google it because I thought I had fucked up for not picking up, because there's like that intro cutscene, and then you have to actually accept the quest. But I did find it eventually, and I did the quest, and that's it. I don't understand Gunbreaker at all right now, so I need a lot of time to learn that. But
That's why when I unlocked Gunbreaker, I made sure to finish that first quest because I knew when I saw where that quest started, I thought, no.
yeah,
I'm not leaving this here.
yeah. There's an instance battle at the beginning. It's a very long initial quest.
It's quite hard.
Yeah, it is.
actually.
Yeah, it is, because I'm a fool. I didn't see the icon. There's like 2 fights actually. There's like a boss fight at the end technically. This isn't spoilers. You can expect that. There was like 25% left of the boss's health. No, sorry, 50. At 50%, I suddenly realized that one NPC that's there, you're actually supposed to protect and keep alive.
Yeah.
And she's got like blinking HP bar at that point. And I'm like, oh shit. So I try to heal her, and then that's when they start throwing shit at you, and you like have to constantly move around.
Yeah.
And I was struggling a bit with my HP, and then I pressed the thing that lowers your health to 1%. I had just healed up. I'm like, oh, I'm at 50% at least, and then I pressed that button, so my health bar drops back down. Don't worry, guys. I survived. I made it.
Oh, that's good.
Barely.
Because I would have been so frustrated if I failed, but it was such a long instance.
Mm-hmm. Myself and the NPC you're supposed to protect, we were both at like the lowest HP at the end. But I did it. Yeah, other than that, the raids, we're doing that, and then that's it. Whatever we do on stream, I guess.
The raid is still fun. Raiding is still good.
Yeah, because we haven't hit a real wall yet. But don't worry.
Yeah, I know, because
we will.
Well, every week we're still making progress, so as long as that keeps happening, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. That's what we've done this week. I guess we have a lot to talk about today, so let's just jump into recent events. Because the Rising is here. We teased. Well, we didn't tease it. We talked about it last week before it had released. Kind of forgot that it had released when it actually came out. I forgot that it was on a Monday. Even though
very weird day to come out on.
Yeah. The event takes place in Costa del Sol. There's always been like this connection between Moonfire Fair and the Rising. They sort of overlap perfectly because there's still like the fireworks and stuff. It's sort of the same vibe. This time it's very literal. We are literally just following up on Moonfire Fair. It's Moonfire Fair, the end.
Yeah.
But we're picking up garbage from the beach, and we get a message in a bottle. Well, not just one bottle. You get a lot of bottles. They barely remember this. There's hardly any story, but this Mikote lady, that's technically your boss for this, tells you to, after you've delivered the first load, you go and pick up more. She tells you to I can do the rest. You can, if you want to pick up more of those bottles, feel free to do so. So you have 3 choices: small, medium, large.
You're talking about
That's the repeatable
quest already.
That's the repeatable. Oh, you want me to? What was the first part?
You
that's the
just get a
one from the
bottle and
Wandering
then
Minstrel, right?
She says,
Yeah.
She reads a bit of it and can't understand. You have to go and get it translated by some
Right. There's that.
Harbour Herald guy, I think.
Yeah, I have to assume a Harbour Herald reporter.
And then he tells you what it is, and then you go to the Wandering Minstrel and he says, I wrote this 6 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he does. I have skipped that whole part because it's technically the same thing you've seen before. But this time, instead of the GMs, it's all the versions of you.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny that all these jobs that I've not leveled.
Yeah, but they represent an expansion or a game.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't have been as weird for Lakila and I.
No. Was it?
Look at what I can become.
Yeah, because I was very confused. The first one was just an archer.
The one with...
I'm like...
it's just an archer.
1.0, isn't it?
Yeah, it is 1.0, but it took a while for me to realize. I'm like...
He's also still... It's still not wearing the gear from...
Oh, yeah, still no.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, so everyone was represented even 1.0. And then the usual message from Yoshi-P, which is very nice. I wonder, I'm going to assume that he's penned this message himself. I think that's what he does every year.
Yeah.
And then he, but this is the thing that was weird because afterwards he does the exact same spiel he does every year. He says the same thing. He's like, now we remember the ones we've lost and whatever.
Yeah.
I think I guess that's just how it is. We have to remember the ones we've lost. The ones that are no longer playing 14. Vero, Lonigan. Half the hosts that has ever been on the show. Yeah, okay. And then you return. And that's when she's like, there's more of those bottles at the beach. And then that's sort of where I kind of started to lose my mind because I thought you would get them chronologically. Like you would pick up a small bottle, you'll get one. Pick up a small bottle, you get two. But instead, you would get one. Then you would get one. Then we do one. Then you get one. I got a lot of the first one. I'm just saying. I got a lot of that. I've read that message board team message a million times. So I went to Reddit and read like most of it. I tried each bottle a few times just to see. The big ones is where you want to go because that's where there's especially one message. I don't think we should spoil all of this because the event is still going, right?
Yeah, okay.
But we should at least just address, kind of what we're getting. We can spoil like the usual stuff, but I think that one message we should keep as a surprise for those who want to do that.
The one big message relates to
The story.
something at the end of the game.
Yeah. But the other stuff is like from the people that have made the message board, the forum team.
I assume that one's from Foxconn.
Oh, that's yes.
Was the bard for Soken?
That must be Soken. No, not the bard. There are two. That's the art.
There are two sound design ones.
Yeah, the sound design, and then there's the one with the orchestra. And I think the one with the orchestra Moogles has to be Soken.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else of note was there? They were very cute. They were written in game, like in lore.
Yeah.
So it didn't break the fourth wall, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They're not
were
Yoshi-P.
nice.
They don't have those powers.
no. That's only done like with the Wandering Minstrel, the fourth wall breaking and stuff. No big event thing. Very laid back compared to last year.
I think they realized there's no way they could top last year, so they might as well pare it back a little so they can build it up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the event? No, let's talk about the rewards first before we take the overall one. So, you're getting not very hard to get these rewards.
No,
because you get 10 vouchers per message that you pick up. And each painting, because they're paintings, they cost like 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, they cost 5 each.
And there's 6 of them, so it's
Crazy.
30.
So you can stock up on posters if you'd like. They don't stack though.
No, they don't stack. Housing items never stack.
No.
This was much easier than the Moonfire Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Moonfire Fair wasn't hard, but you still had to do way more quests to get everything.
Also, when you deliver a bottle, she says, "Is that a bottle in your pocket, or you're just happy to see me?"
Yeah.
She doesn't say in your pocket. She says in your hand.
Oh yeah, in your hand. That implication is even grosser. Like,
yeah, that really confused me.
Yeah. What does that bottle look like? Or what if? Questions.
Very obsessive. Small
I don't-
bottle first.
I don't know how many people noticed this, but the quest NPC, the main Moonfire Fair attendant, she was the person that you completed the Eorzean Ninja Warrior course with during the Moonfire Fair. She was the person that was actually on the tower that you talked to finish that quest.
Right.
So I like that there's consistency between the two events.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Also, I know a lot of people. I got a few DMs from people that thought this was the discovery of the century. That the merchant, the vendor, is 1.0 Minfilia. I am aware. She always is. She is back this year as well. Right. Let's move on to something that's coming up. That is the TGS live letter. Live letter leave.
Live.
That's 54. That is at September 14th, 9 p.m. BST, 5 a.m. PT on September 15th for you PT users.
No,
No?
it's the other way around.
Other way around. It's of course. September 15th for us Europeans on 9 p.m. BST. Sorry, misinformation. That's what we do here.
5 a.m. BST.
5 a.m.
5 a.m. here.
BST, 9 p.m. PT.
Yes.
Figure out the dates yourselves. I don't care.
Yeah.
The next live letter will be aired there. It'll be a preview of the upcoming patch 5.1. They'll be talking to Saito and Yokotaro, guest creators of the brand new Alliance Raid series Yorha Dark Apocalypse. So there'll be a lot of news about that. So that's worth catching. Is that the one that's on the Saturday, right?
It's
No,
Sunday
it will be
morning for us.
Sunday morning for you two.
5 a.m. for me, 6 a.m. for you.
Sorry, this
2
is
p.m. for me.
You're a geek.
Yeah, 2 p.m. for me.
The absolute
delicious.
worst.
It's not my fault that I'm on the same time zone as Japan, pretty much.
Yeah. So we'll look at that. We'll look at that when that happens. Mega Mog Station sale. Moving on.
Woo!
There is a sale going on right now on the Mog Station, started on August 27th and will last until September 30th. And select items are marked down 30%. It says that sale items are all optional items.
Yeah.
So everything, but for some reason, all sale items will be marked down. All sale items. Oh, sorry. I've had a long day. I've had two batteries.
He drank some licorice.
I
did drink some licorice. Everything that's on sale is on sale for 30%
There we
off.
go. Yeah. Including Cloud's bike.
Woo!
Yeah.
The whale mount.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Cloud bike is. Do we have the price for that? And that price is not listed.
No, we don't have the sale items.
No. Okay.
Only the new stuff.
And I'm assuming that's like is that the Lord?
It's some of the Korean stuff.
Some of the Korean stuff.
Some of the Korean gear.
Fantasias are on sale. The new dance. Yeah, that's for you, Nat. The new dances, not new anymore, but they're kind of newish.
Yeah.
And then we have new arrivals.
Why'd they have to do this?
The cryo outfit is not back, but it's finally at the Mog Station. For €9. I'm assuming that's $10 for the US.
Approximately, probably.
The outfit can be yours. It has a very curious function. The hair is dyeable. The hair.
It also replaces your hair.
It also, yeah, it does.
I never wanted Kryle's outfit on the Mog Station, so I'm glad they found a way to ruin it.
Yeah, also...
Like, now I definitely know I'll never want to buy it, because that's such a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
I like the rest of her outfit. I don't like what they did with the hood.
No. I don't like what they did with the hood, especially considering what it looks like on Vieira.
Oh, yeah.
Because those ears, they go through.
I haven't seen what this looks like on a Mikoto. I have to assume they have 2 sets of ears now.
Oh, God.
Oh,
no.
God. Well, they might just hide them for them. Maybe they just can't hide Vieira ears. No, they do when you put on the frog thing. Or can they wear the frog thing? Yeah?
They can.
Yeah,
they can. Anything that replaces your whole head, Vieira and Rockdar can use.
Okay. There's also 2 minions. There's the wind-up Yuna. No. These are sale items. Sorry, I just read the text, didn't look at the minions. There's
these aren't sale items. These are new.
These are new. Okay. Wind-up Yuna, wind-up Lulu, wind-up Riku.
Oh, right, they're the ones from last year's.
And wind-up. How do you pronounce her name?
Sirena. Sirena is from last year's Rising, whereas the other 3, the Final Fantasy X characters, are from
Stormblood.
I am so not up to speed on what's on the Mog Station. I think you all realize that now. I am never on the Mog Station, so okay.
Luckily, that's not the worst thing they've added.
No, because the funniest thing has been added. You can buy replica White Ravens, and if you're a complete idiot, you can buy the replica Manderville earrings. Okay, they added replica to it, right?
Yeah.
Which is something we asked for the event. But then they put it on the Mog Station. No. My rant isn't over. So now you have people that did the event that got the same earrings as the 1.0 legacy players. They're still called White Raven's Manderville earrings. And then the next year,
I got them from playing 1.0.
Shut your filthy mouth.
Because they've got the right name.
Shh. And then they put it on the Mog Station. And that's when they put Replica on.
You're paying for the brand name. You're paying for the prestige.
But you're
of
not getting the brand name because
You're
it's got Replica in front of it. So it's like a knockoff version of it.
I understand why they did it, because people are going to complain if they didn't have them on the Mog Station. But I think now it's just funny, because I've no anger left for this. I am done with it. It's over. It's funny. If people want to buy fucking replica Manderville earrings, then so be it. You know, they've done the if they can get people. That's the Sorry, it's too much for me. It's too much for me that you would wear coral earrings that you've paid for. It's not expensive, by the way. It's only €2.10. But
I'd say it's expensive for what you're getting.
It's not on sale, though, I'm afraid.
If I see anyone approaching me as a meme with those earrings, I'm gonna slap them. That is.
Here's the thing, though. You gotta make the decision.
Yeah.
3 replica Mandeville earrings or some shaved ice.
Yeah, or the fucking curry platter, which looks like someone just had a shit on a. Like, why? What are you doing?
Aren't those on sale though?
Yeah.
Aren't they less? They worth less now.
Oh yeah, better buy them. I'm gonna get some curry.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh. Sorry. I know I'm gonna get.
Sometimes the Mog Station upsets me.
Yeah. This one is actually.
I've learned to let it go.
I think I came off a bit aggressive. I actually think this is fucking hilarious that you're buying coral. You're being ripped off.
It is very funny.
Yeah. Because I would have kind of understood it if it wasn't replica. Like, you were actually buying the Manderville earrings, right? But these aren't the Manderville earrings. That's the point. You're getting a replica Manderville earring.
Dear Square Enix, if you could please add replica wind-up Dalamud to the Mog Station, I'd very much appreciate that, minion. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Moving on. Changes to congested and preferred worlds has now been announced. I'm sorry, Europe, but we have no preferred worlds anymore.
Oh
well. For Japan, I don't know how to read Japan anymore. For Japan, our dear friends in Japan, Yojimbo and Ceramus has been changed to preferred worlds. I don't know. I think there's something wrong with me today.
It's all that licorice.
It's all that licorice. No one understands what we're referring to. I had a battery with licorice in it. I'll tell you later.
Don't just say that.
Whatever.
It's a drink.
Yeah. We can just move on to the North American data center, because that's what everyone wants to know. Exodus, Famfrit, and Lamia has been changed to preferred worlds. Behemoth and Excalibur has been changed to congested worlds. And Cactuar, Gilgamesh, Hyperion, Leviathan, and Ultros has become standard worlds. Well, Gilgamesh. I just remember back when Gilgamesh was like full.
Oh, okay.
And the European data center, all of our servers have become standard worlds now.
Yep.
No congested worlds though, which is,
I mean, it could be that some of them were already congested and they're still congested.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't be listed here if there's no changes. But I don't know. I don't remember them off the top of my head. Sorry.
No, that's all we've got. No, wait. That's 8 servers listed. I think.
Yes, there's only 8.
Yeah, there's only 8.
Why does Japan have Japan? Why does Japan have so many servers?
I know.
Because Japan likes to have less people in their servers in general.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. And next, I guess we'll just move on to the first interview with Naoki Yoshida, done by PC Games.
N.
Oh yeah, PC Games
Yeah.
N, which we tried to figure out what that
The
N
N
stood
stands for
for.
Network N.
Network
No.
N. And then we try to figure out Network N, and then Network N stands for network. So it's the publishing company is called Network.
Yeah.
Drives me bonkers. Why? Find a better
It's
name.
very confusing.
Sorry, just some pro tip. Find a better name. Okay. Final Fantasy isn't getting a new MMO anytime soon because Final Fantasy XIV is doing just fine, is the headline. Not a big surprise. I don't think any of us expected a Final Fantasy MMO anytime soon.
No, sadly not.
Really?
It's always exciting hearing about a new MMO.
That's true. That's true.
I mean,
like
it's
seeing
exciting
what
to
you
hear about it and then to see it go free to play in about 6 months' time.
True,
Yeah.
but, you know.
After its rebirth in 2013, Final Fantasy XIV has followed an upward trajectory, adding massive amounts of new content over the years since A Realm Reborn debuted. Square Enix plans to continue on that path, with no plans currently in place to create another Final Fantasy branded MMO or a separate sequel to 14. This is like the second time we've read someone bringing up a sequel to 14. I wonder where this sort of where this came from, the sequel thing.
Is Yoshi-P bringing this up in all the interviews? Like,
Yeah.
you want that? A sequel?
Yeah.
Not happening.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is the same stuff we read back when 11 was like current 14 MMO, no, Final Fantasy MMO, and they talked about the sequel as well, and that's what eventually became 14. So maybe if he's planting this. That's according to Final Fantasy XIV producer and director Naoki Yoshida and head writer Banri Oda, who spoke with the German language Spieltipps during Gamescom this week. Both developers were apparently clear. They plan to continue creating updates for Final Fantasy XIV and Square Enix, according to the machine translation of the article.
Oh, no.
Adheres to the concept of the game. It's rarely wise to rely solely on automated translations, but that part of the story seems pretty clear. Currently, there is no prospect of a new online offshoot. That's likely good news for players, hot off the recent Shadowbringers expansion, which launched last month. Players who have invested countless hours in the game will be glad to know more content is on the way, and that Square isn't planning on mothballing Final Fantasy XIV anytime soon, even despite its relatively advanced age.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Mothballing.
I like that word, mothballing.
Okay.
Yoshida and Oda didn't discuss any specific plans for what might be on the way in terms of expansion or update content for 14, but they did confirm that there are new equipment and customization options coming for the Viera and Hrothgar races that were added with Shadowbringers, so good for us and them.
I mean, not for us.
Not for
technically, we
us.
don't play those races, but good for people
Yeah.
that play them.
The developers also said Square Enix plans to stick with Final Fantasy XIV's current subscription model rather than going free to play or using another monetization method. Yoshida said that Yoshida said that between the free demo and the large amount of content included with the base game, they feel the subscription plus premium pricing structure that's currently in place is fair to players, and it allows for the development of new content for the game at a rapid tempo and large scale. That was a long sentence.
That's very nice of him to say. I like how he's not mentioning the Mog Station at all.
Yeah.
Because I feel as if that's a significant part about how this big game makes money.
Yeah. Now here's a little interesting part. World of Warcraft Classic is upon us, and the world is awash in its nostalgia for the original format of WoW. The world loves Final Fantasy XIV in its modern form, but there's little demand for a return to its disastrous 1.0 launch. Because of that, director and producer Naoki Yoshida doesn't see much competition from Blizzard's new nostalgia-filled release. We have to stop thinking that a 14 classic should be 1.0. I keep saying it, no one's getting it.
I don't think a 14 classic should exist at all.
No, I know. But if there was if we were having one, it shouldn't be 1.0.
No, it would have to be a Realm Reborn.
Yeah.
The only thing I want from 1.0 is this story.
Yeah. Well, do you? It's
I just want to know it. I want there to be some sort of in-game archive, if anything.
yeah, I guess. Yeah. A lot of it is retcon too, so it wouldn't really make
Yeah.
it would be very confusing. Okay, WoW Classic isn't a competitor for 14, Yoshida tells us. The actual rival is World of Warcraft itself. The structure is more like World of Warcraft than WoW Classic. Only a small handful of MMOs have been able to survive these days, and Yoshida says, what is most important to survive in this competitive market is release content as soon as possible, with a great amount of content available, and that it happens regularly. These are the 3 points that we have to make sure that happens. You might think that's easy, but it isn't, because there aren't so many games that can do what Blizzard has done.
True.
Yeah.
And our community seems to eat up content very quickly. So it must be pretty annoying sometimes. That's why they have to put in some grindy content every now and then.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem with MMOs, is that they need content that slows you down so that they have time to make new content. But I don't feel... Well, 14 does have droughts. We go through those.
I'd say there's like one every expansion cycle.
Oh yeah, there's one like long one, like
There's a long one at the end.
Yeah, well, in Heaven's Sword it was the first one, definitely the first one. Like between 4.0 and 3.1, 3.0 and 3.1, there was like this long drought because they went on holiday, and then the patch itself had Diadem in it, so it wasn't exactly a big up.
And with Stormblood it was 4.3.
Yeah. So I mean, it's obvious that WoW Classic is not a competitor for 14. It's not the same type of game. And it's going to be interesting to see how long WoW Classic remains popular.
Yeah.
Because I think while I don't play WoW now, and I never really did when it was out, it's probably when the nostalgia fades, you'll probably start seeing why we moved on from this.
Yeah.
And that's when I think it'll just... I wonder what happens then. Like, when do they like mothball WoW Classic?
Because like
some games have like legacy servers slowly put in the expansions again, and it seems like a weird structure to just re-release your game.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of interesting as like an archival thing.
Oh, that's
even if people don't necessarily keep playing it to the same extent that they are now, it's nice because most MMOs, once they're gone or they're just gone, there's no way to play them unless you've got your own server.
Right.
Yes, that's true.
But people play these vanilla servers. They were very popular, like before they got all shut down.
A lot of
by
WoW
Blizzard.
vanilla servers had like various buffs to them, though.
That's true. Yeah, like with all private servers, there's always like a cheat added to it. So it's not exactly the vanilla experience. But I'm sure they'll find like there'll be like role play and stuff. I think will keep WoW alive, WoW Classic alive longer.
It's nice in that it exists for a means for people to explore the world before Cataclysm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It is nice to see.
Yeah, because for those of you that don't know, Cataclysm basically just changed the whole like world. So you lost a lot. You could never go back to what was before. That's why a lot of people were drawn to the vanilla WoW servers, because they could re-experience that world that they loved, the world that they started in, the one that they feel attachment to. Imagine, it is kind of the same thing that's going on with 1.0 players. It's that the Eorzea, I say we, but I don't really share this opinion anymore, but the world that we started in is not the same that we're in now.
Yeah.
And that's the selling point for WoW Classic. And that's the endless pull of wanting, like, of 1.0. Even though you know it in your heart, it's not a good game. You just want to be back there.
I think if you could explore some of the locations with current 14 controls, I think it wouldn't be that bad. Obviously, you wouldn't want them to be as expansive because there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
But like, if you if you could include some like key locations, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've sort of talked about this a lot on this channel, but I just don't see that. With 14, it's almost impossible because a lot of the world looked the way it did because of the engine it was running on and all of that. Like, also, it's not very interesting. Like, look at Lenosha. It's just nothing. It's nothing in the tiny camp in the edge. Like, the shape of it, maybe, and the way that it's very barren.
Yeah.
I feel like Lenosha, but it's recovered. Lenosha in Our Realm Reborn is too lush for what it was in 1.0. Yeah, 1.0 made a big point out of the whole, deforestation of Lenosha.
Okay.
There was only like some clusters of trees somewhere, like in certain areas, which I
think it would be interesting. Like, there are some interesting 1.0 things that are still in this game, like the Kurthus Eastern Lowlands, which is for Shadow.
What? What was for Shadow?
Is Shatter?
Oh, for Shadow. I thought you said something was for Shadow. Sorry, I was reading chat.
No.
Oh yeah, for Shatter.
Yeah, because that's based on 1.0, isn't it?
Oh, it's Seal Rock.
No. The Frontlines Shatter map.
Yeah, with that.
I've already forgotten what Shatter is.
It's the one with the
isn't that
ice.
the icy one? That's Kurthus.
Yeah.
Eastern.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Lowlands.
saying. But
Yeah,
that's from 1.0, isn't it?
Yeah, that's 1.0. There's all of the Shadow maps are 1.0.
Well, there's only one Shadow map.
Sorry, all the Frontlines ones. Seal Rock.
So what I'm saying that like those are interesting locations that if I could explore those outside of a PvP environment, that'd be interesting if they were to do something with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the game's a bit too focused on progressing the story right now, though.
Yeah.
I feel like we need, after the Asian stuff's all done, we need a whole expansion on, like, archaeology, basically. Like, looking at the old stuff as well.
Yeah.
It would be nice if, like, after 6.0, presumably, there's an expansion where they have, rather than going into a whole new grand storyline, they give us this time to sort of just, like, settle down and then maybe at the end tease the next storyline.
Yeah.
But, like, then explore zones that we haven't been able to explore, like West Shroud. Other parts... Yeah, Paglthon, other parts of Hingashi, like parts of the world that they said they wanted to explore, but they can't because there's no story reason to go there now.
West Shroud is the biggest crime in this game because it was featured in promotional art. It's the picture I always use for my headers. It's the header on our Twitter. It's just artwork for West Shroud, and it looks amazing. But we never go there. You can see it from South Shroud in the distance. But we go to Lycanweed. We go to Lycanweed for PvP.
No, can you still go to Lycanweed? I thought they got rid of all the other
Oh, did they?
Crystal Tower maps.
Oh yeah, it's just Crystal Tower now.
Yeah, we could.
You can't anymore.
Go to Lycanweed.
But we can swim now, so we should be able to go there.
Let's swim to West Shroud. Okay. Anyways, WoW Classic, not a threat. Okay, let's move on to Twinfinite. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, the final interview is here. A week in the making. Right. This is with Naoki Yoshida and Banri Oda. This is from Gamescom. Square Enix recently released the latest Final Fantasy XIV expansion, Shadowbringers. Yes, we know, and it appears to be a major success. We know, for the development team. In order to learn more about the future of the game, Twinfinite talked to director and producer Naoki Yoshida and main scenario writer Banri Oda at Gamescom. I'm reading ahead of myself. Gamescom in Cologne, Germany.
Games Cologne.
They shared quite a few interesting details, including the plans to break the barriers. We've talked about this, but between the data centers, so I will not talk about that here. And when we're going to hear more about the restoration of Ishgard and much more.
Oh,
yeah.
That was a very big pause.
Yeah.
I thought
dramatic effect. I built it up. What could it be much of? More. Our friend Giuseppe is asking the question. Shout out to Giuseppe. Yoshida-san, first of all, I'd like to ask you a question I'm sure is on the minds of many fans. How are you? Every time I see you, you seem a little a bit more tired. You must be you must be tired of hearing that question.
Yeah, you look tired.
Yeah. You're right. I'm tired. But now that Shadowbringers has launched, I feel quite relieved. Could you give us some details from your point of view about the reception for Shadowbringers? Yoshida says that I'm very happy about the results and the fact that Shadowbringers was received very well around the world. I'm hearing loud cheering voices from the fans, and it makes me very happy that the expansion is critically acclaimed as well. It's something I'd never expected 9 years ago.
God, yeah.
Was he working on it 9 years ago? Or was he just saying, looking from the outside at the 14 back then, I don't expect this?
It jumped in quite early.
9 years ago. That would be that would be August of 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would. No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't just yet. Not when this interview was made.
that-
So he was
so
probably in the. This was 14 released on August. No, September. September 30th, right? Chat, save me. I think it's September 30th, and yeah. So he hasn't worked on it yet, but he's. I mean, it's almost 9 years ago.
Well, I just sort of read it as him saying, looking from the outside, I didn't expect this game to be that amazing.
Yeah.
As amazing as it is now.
Yeah.
It's all thanks to me.
Yeah. September 29th to 31st. Okay, so, around that time? I thought there was a set time, but okay. There was a set time. Why am I saying this as if I don't know? I think it is the 30th. I'm pretty sure 30th was like the planned release date. They just pushed it out. Okay. Right. I did. Okay, yeah. There's one thing that I also saw pointed out in the comments. This is a very 1.0 sentimental interviewer. So there's a 1.0 angle here that I'm not quite, I don't know if I'm on board with. He said, I never left. Well, at least I had hope. On the other hand, has there been any Yoshida moments in the expansion? Anything that players complained about that you're planning to fix? I didn't see many people shouting Yoshida this time. The servers kept working smoothly and people were focusing on the main story quest. There weren't big complaints. That's true. The servers held on launch day until the DDoS attacks.
Yeah, it was a very stable launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing was the DDoS thing, but that was mostly NA. I'd never really,
and we can't really blame them for that.
No. Banner Yoda says, we certainly heard much louder complaints with Stormblood when people were blocked by Raoban. The only Yoshida moment I saw is when players were having some issues accessing a dungeon.
Which dungeon? That's very vague.
Yeah. What dungeon could that be? I'm assuming
just a dungeon.
Yeah, just a dungeon.
Okay.
He didn't want to talk about it. It was too painful.
Was there an issue with Holman's Switch?
Was it?
I didn't hear it, or I didn't experience it.
Not for me, and I got that. I think
Holminster was pretty far into the story.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah, I'm assuming it's Holminster because it is the first dungeon you sort of enter, unless there's there's no instance before Holminster.
No.
Okay. He shows Yoshi-P the inventory of one of his retainers through the companion app. I don't know why he did that. It's full of Alliance gear pieces from the Gimlet Dark dungeon. He says, you'll probably recognize this. It's all Alliance gear from Gimlet Dark. You might notice that there are no fending pieces for tanks at all. I really like the way the gear looks, so I wanted a full set. I did the dungeon about 40 times before Shadowbringers, and it didn't drop a single tank piece. So
very unbelievable.
Yeah. And then he asks Yoshi-P, since for many players glamours are the true end game, I was wondering if you could implement something like a token system for leveling dungeons, or maybe a mechanic that would let people return a number of unwanted pieces and receive one of their choice. Honestly,
Interesting question.
Yeah?
This is not a leveling dungeon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Well, it is now. Gimlet Dark?
I guess you could say
Yeah.
it is, but not in the leveling roulette.
Oh, it's not in the leveling roulette?
No, it's in the 50, 60, 70 roulette.
Oh,
That
yeah.
glorious
God,
cluster F of a roulette.
Love that one. Honestly, the Gimlet Dark is my favorite dungeon, and the music is absolutely fantastic, but grinding it so many times to try to get the gear I wanted made me hate it. Yoshida says the drop rate for dungeons will be adjusted with patch 5.1.
Oh.
What does that mean?
But there's nothing to do with drop rate. The drop rate will be the same.
How is adjusting the drop rate going to make it more likely that tank gear is going to drop?
Reading.
Okay.
Okay.
Speaking of tokens, I honestly don't want to implement more of them. If we made a single token type usable for all the dungeons, players would find out what's the most efficient dungeon to farm, and they would do only that one. If we created a specific token for every dungeon, in that case, Oda-san would have to come up with different names for each, and that's going to be hard on him. On top of that, it would be problematic for inventory space. Rather than using tokens, we think that we should completely change the approach to dungeon drops. For instance, items might drop per player, and you may be able to choose an item of your choice.
Oh.
Ooh.
I don't mind that as an idea. Like, say you're
No.
going in on Black Mage, it comes up with 3 options, and like 2 are random pieces of the dungeon gear, and the last one's like an Allegan silver piece or something. So if
Yeah.
you've got
Yeah.
everything, you get some money for it.
Okay.
I think that'd be a really good way of doing it.
I like that idea. To give you a clearer explanation, it will be close to the coffer system implemented in the Eden raid dungeon. But at the same time, that might cause you to have lots of boxes in your inventory, so that might be a problem. Well, it's better to have a box that you can open and it becomes like gear that you can use than having gear that you don't need, that you can't
And
use.
if you don't need it and you're getting clogged up with boxes, open them and trade them in for seals.
Yes.
Yeah.
That being said, the drop rate for dungeons is imbalanced at the moment, so you want to change it for 5.1. I still don't understand what that means. The drop rate. So does it mean for stuff that drops directly in your inventory?
I think it's just either number of items or role distribution or something.
The amount of gear? I don't understand, because the drop rate is fixed in the dungeons, except for the stuff that drops directly to your...
Yeah.
The only thing I could think of is that like Dragoon gear is as likely to drop as tank gear, despite the fact that Dragoons are the only ones that use Dragoon gear.
Yeah.
Therefore,
That's
it's less
fair.
relevant overall.
Yeah.
Damn Dragoons.
Okay.
Well, that was just an example. I wasn't picking on Dragoons.
Thank you, Yogi, for
Yeah.
highlighting the issue there.
Oda-san, what is yours and the writing team's relationship with the 1.0 story? I don't mean the story added with the 1.x patch series, but strictly what was released with the original Final Fantasy XIV.
There's 1.0 as it gets.
Is it something you like to draw from, or is something you find to be a limitation that at times you need to work around when... Sorry, this is a weird sentence. Or is it something you like to draw from, or is it something you find to be a limitation that at times... A limitation?
You need to work around.
That at times you need to work around when creating new stories. My brain couldn't parse that sentence for whatever reason. I don't know. Okay. Of course, the story from 1.0 affected me significantly, even if I wasn't part of the team that worked on the original 1.0 story. I joined the team after Yoshida-san took over. Yeah, no, he was not on.
Okay.
When 1.0 released, I was simply one of the players. Oh, I can't remember the original MSQ writer's name. I was simply one of the players, and I also played other MMORPGs, which provided me with a lot of experience. I think memories from that time are important for all players. That's why, even though that story may affect us negatively at times, it would be no good to just ignore the players' memories of it. When we announced that we wanted to rebuild Final Fantasy XIV, that's something Yoshida-san tried hard to be mindful of, to avoid destroying those memories. Since I joined the team, I tried to gather information on what the original writing team that wrote that story wanted to do. I also researched all the information that hadn't been conveyed to the players yet. Then I deconstructed it and picked the elements that were needed to bolster Yoshida-san's plan to destroy the world, setting them apart from what wasn't needed. While I was trying to preserve the memories of the players, I was also doing my best to tidy up the story, which was probably no easy task because that story went everywhere. When you were working on tidying up that storyline, did you find it confusing as much as we did? Oda says, initially I saw the story of 1.0 as a player, so I knew that those issues needed to be rectified. One issue was that the player had a power to see the past, but it wasn't clear how it worked. So I toiled with the rest of the team to tidy up everything. Which is true. Like, as you've seen in Chronicles, it's very difficult to see when you've entered an echo, because there's no like screen effect, and your player is, well, now that you know it's an echo, we know this now, so when we see there's like a sound when you enter the echo, but back when you played it, you had no idea what a fucking echo was, and you didn't learn what an echo was until way later in the story. So the very difficult story to follow if you didn't know what an echo was already.
Our echo is less confusing, but maybe a little bit more inconvenient, considering it seems to knock us out when we go into it.
Yeah, and we also don't get to take part of the echo.
No.
We're just sort of watching a movie now, which in 1.0 we didn't. Right. Back then, I gave Oda-san one piece of advice. In case the interpretation of certain elements of the story by the players wasn't in line with what the original developers wanted, if we needed to strain things in order to make them understand accurately, we didn't really need to put too much effort into that. Even if we pushed, there was no guarantee that the players would understand completely anyway. So rather than making things too complicated, we should simply stick to our direction to make things more accessible for players. For instance, even among the development team, there were moments in the story that happened 10 years before, but some interpret them as happening in the present. That's why we needed to make sure that everyone was on the same page. What is he referring to there?
I think he's saying that there were some people on the development team that didn't understand the echo.
Oh, God. Oh, they were fooled by the 1.0 echo as well. Is that what he's implying?
That's what I took from
that
it.
makes sense to me. Yeah, I can see that. It took forever for me to understand it, too. Even when I look back at it, I'm like, wait, is this? Oh, yeah, that's the echo. Okay. Well, personally, I think all that work paid off because I believe the current Final Fantasy XIV story is the best among all Final Fantasy games. I agree with that, especially.
I'm not going to say actually because I don't think I can speak to it.
It's definitely up there.
It is absolutely up there, and it's got a villain. I think that's one of the best villains we've had multiple villains that are way better than many of the other Final Fantasy villains. Emet being my new favorite, obviously. Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about one of the best elements of that story, Emet Selch, who is probably one of the best villains ever. Everyone loves him. What inspired him, and how did you go about creating him? Okay, I guess spoiler warning if you haven't done the story yet. You're not watching this if you're whatever. Okay, you might be surprised by this answer. Is this a surprising answer that is it? Yes. Okay. The main scenario for Final Fantasy XIV 5.0 was handled by Ishikawa. Yet the Asians have been very the Asians have been very enigmatic and mysterious. Players didn't really know what their goals are or what kind of people they are. That's why we thought best to give the players opportunities to get close to them to understand them better as people. Yoshida says, before Stormblood, we thought that there should have been a link between the Asians and Garlemald, and we realized that everything made more sense. That everything made more sense if Garlemald was actually a creation of the Asians. That is such a lucky thing that they that everything makes sense, because the story. Yeah, so it sounds like they had. Well, I'm going to read his full answer. When we had this ancient character, Emperor Solus, and we thought
Ancient character. He's only like 100 years old.
And we thought that using him worked in our favor. That's the background of the inception of the Ascian as they are now. Also, Emperor Varus has been experimenting on creating clones in Garlemald, and he is involved with Solus as well. Ishikawa-san wished to humanize the Ascian and Emet Selch, and to explore them as characters instead of leaving their vision unclear. The idea of Emet Selch drew inspiration. Here it is. Here's the kicker. From Jack Sparrow, from the Pirates of the Caribbean series. With the goal of adding more human elements on top of that.
But actually drew inspiration from Captain Sabletan.
He also kind of overlaps the image of Arden from Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
Arden 15, which is why we needed to work around it so that the two characters didn't overlap too much.
I see much more similarities between
Arden was
Emet Selch and Arden than Emet Selch and Sparrow.
Because that was like one of the first things people called out. It's like he's just like Arden. I don't see the Jack Sparrow link
No, not at all.
as much. But maybe the way he walks, his like...
Yeah, he has a certain gait to him, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing with Garlemald, though, it's very like... The story just made sense already. Because what we had in the lore book was... Garlemald was a republic, and then suddenly it became an empire, and then suddenly it became really evil and weird. So it just sort of made sense.
Yeah. And in the story, it is a thing that Ascians have been a part of bringing about the destruction of empires.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they would be a part of making them grow so that they could shatter, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the restoration of Ishgard. When do you think we'll be able to hear more about that? So, at first he's sort of dismissive. He's like, we'll talk about it in the next live letter. But we also have plans to do another live letter before the release of patch 5.1, and that will be part 2. We're still in the process of deciding which one we'll use to provide information about the restoration of Ishgard. We have a big plan to overhaul Disciples of the Hand and Disciples of the Land in patch 5.1 and patch 5.2. Since this change will be significant, we're mulling on when to talk about Ishgard. We think it'll be beneficial for the players to know about the changes for crafters and gatherers first and foremost, so we'll likely focus on this at the Tokyo Game Show and the restoration of Ishgard in the live letter part 2.
Aww.
So, I'm a little worried by that. It's like big changes.
That's very interesting to put these big changes to gatherers and crafters in 5.1 and not the launch of the new expansion.
Yeah. Okay. The good news about the restoration of Ishgard is that you can contribute even if you aren't a high-level crafter and gatherer. You can also use that chance to level your crafting and gathering classes up. So you can use it for leveling. Too late. For me.
It says you aren't a high-level crafter or gatherer. You have to at least be up to Ishgard, but I guess you might not have leveled a gatherer or crafter by then.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can still level to 50 on a battle class. And
in fact, you probably won't. You probably can't do this until after you've at least completed Heavensward.
Yeah, but you're not playing the game as a crafter or gatherer.
That's true. It's just like you have to get pretty far into the game to
that's
do
true.
this.
Yeah, that's true. That's a feature they should bring back from 1.0, being able to start as a crafter and gatherer and do all the instance duties as throwing rocks. The restoration of Ishgard will include high-end recipes for crafters and a leaderboard which will display your name, recording your achievements for other people to see. The feature will be upgraded over the course of the 5.x series, so I'll definitely talk more about it at a later time.
That's sort of interesting, because if you are a crafter that is on the leaderboard.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a prestige to have your signature on items.
Yeah, that's true. I'm very. Well, we'll see. I'm afraid that they're they're not hyping it up, but it's just that it's being mentioned every time it's mentioned. It's like, we'll talk more about it later. There will be a leaderboard, and you can level, and you don't have to be a high-level crafter. But if you are a high-level crafter, you'll probably get good shit. And then when we get it, it's just not what we expected.
Remember when they last did this with Eureka?
Yeah. And we know that Diadem is tied to this. So
yes, we do.
There's one thing that I'm missing from the 1.0 version of the game, and it's inverse kinematics. My character adapted physically to the terrain, so if I was standing on a slope, his knees and ankles would bend dynamically to keep his feet on the ground. Now, if I stand on a slope or across the steps of a staircase, one of my feet will simply float. I will admit it's a bit of a pet peeve for me. Is there a chance to reintroduce that feature at some point? It's technically possible if you're okay with the crappy server response from the 1.0 era. Again, it could be done, but it'd make raids really difficult. You're going to be hit by the attacks you thought you evaded. That kind of technology makes sense for single-player games, but maybe not for MMORPGs. If we did something like keeping this feature exclusively client-side so that you don't see your character floating, it could be possible, but back when we launched 14.2.0, the PS3 wouldn't have been able to render it. Boom! PS3 limitations. But, I'm sorry guys, even with PS4, it probably strained the rendering capabilities, and the frame rate would drop dramatically. In order to bring it back up to 30 FPS, 30, we likely would have to limit the number of rendered characters to 20 or so. What?
I have to defend the PS4 a little bit and say there are a lot of computers that would probably struggle with this as well.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Probably one of the reasons behind the failure of 1.0 is that the development team wanted players to experience such things in an MMORPG. Trying to achieve something like that is really, really difficult. Yeah.
So unnecessary.
Yeah, it is unnecessary. We don't need it. I would rather have capes.
Yeah.
Starting with The Realm Reborn, we wanted players to be able to enjoy the game with a wide variety of hardware specs. That's why we identified what was needed in order to achieve it, and what we should have ditched for that purpose. We removed everything that wasn't necessary and only kept what we had to keep. Thanks to the fact that we streamlined the technology, we were able to release the PS3 version. That was a promise Square Enix had made to players, and we wanted to keep it.
Yeah.
I imagine implementing inverse kinematic again would be another nightmare. Yoshida, you want to go back to that era? You don't want to go back to that era, do you? And his response says, I liked 1.0 more than most, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that with 1.0 stuff.
Thank you.
Twinfinite.
Giuseppe.
Yeah. I guess we'll just move on from that. Not much to add to that. It was stuff. The last part is just stuff we don't really need to discuss. It's obvious that we don't need all. 1.0 failed because of these reasons. Like there was too much attention to details and like graphics, and you couldn't run it on most computers. So we don't want to put that back in.
It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much unnecessary detail. It's like if you're reading a story and the author is spending so much time describing like the wallpaper. Yeah. And then ultimately it doesn't really affect where the narrative is going.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, it is we've said this before, kind of disrespectful to keep bringing 1.0 up like
a little bit,
because that was not a good time for him, and he has achieved great things with this game now, and 1.0 is like bad. So
I mean, neither of these people were involved with base 1.0.
right,
No.
yeah. But there we go.
I could understand it a bit more if they were asking Koji or someone
Yeah,
that was there.
that was there.
But
Yeah. Yeah, Banri, yeah, Oda wasn't even there. So yeah, literally no one has any real experience with what he wants to talk about, clearly. Okay, moving on to something that's not an interview, but a short story that's been released on the Lodestone. It's called Tales from the Shadow, One Name, One Promise. So I'm now reading what I wrote in the show notes. Should we just spoil it now then?
yeah, if you haven't read it, then I guess don't listen to this part.
We get shit if we spoil things, and we get shit if we don't spoil it. But last time we didn't spoil shit, so this time we're spoiling shit. So we're gonna get those angry comments now. Leave now if you, or mute us. You know what? I'll do this.
Excellent.
Oh, I have this like IKEA screwdriver thing that you get.
Oh,
with,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll do this when we're done. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Hopefully you didn't mute too early.
Don't mute too early.
No, you just don't know what's going on.
Okay, so I'll do this. Okay. Here we go. I'm waving it.
Stop doing that.
No, that
It's
means
gonna
we've
confuse
started.
people.
Sorry, now we've started.
Okay.
So, the story is basically about Thancred, yeah, and his like childhood and his path to adulthood. He was basically raised by
Louis
Soir.
Yeah, a little bit. Louis was a bit like Fagin.
Yeah.
He kind of is grabbing all the street urchins into his little empire.
Yeah.
Not in a super sinister way.
No,
Still a bit weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
It is
Thancred
a bit weird though.
Thancred tried to steal from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you caught someone, you're really good at thieving. Come with me to Charlayan and I'll teach you lots of things.
Thancred was very happy about what did happen. He expected
his life was
to
bad.
he was expecting to either go to jail
Or die,
Yeah.
hung.
Yeah.
So I think his ultimate fate was not that bad
At
all.
In the beginning, what was implied? Did you like? There was a guy like fucking touching. Was it implying what I think it was implying at the beginning? I got a gross vibe. It didn't spell it out.
I didn't get that impression.
It was very like it was like, oh, he's not his father. Oh, they're not related by blood, but he's touching his hair, and he's like calling him things. I feel like at least
Maybe
something
it
was
was a bit like
implied.
that.
Something gross was implied there, I think.
Yeah.
But they didn't really talk about that. But I just thought it was a very dark beginning, if that was what they implied. I just didn't like it. Okay, and then Louis gives him a last name, after Thaliak.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
And also was supposed to reflect where he's from.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the
I wonder if Louis taught him how to speak properly.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't speak like a Limpson.
He does not.
That's true. I suppose if he was raised amongst scholars.
Well, he is. Yeah, he got the Archon tattoo, so he is very well studied. So he should be able to speak properly.
I mean,
cool, blimey.
yeah.
well
No
studied.
one tattoo.
He's an expert in his field. Does not necessarily mean he's broadly read.
Well, he's like a spy, so
Yeah.
He's a spy.
he would need to know how to speak.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's base. Oh, then there's the Minfilia storyline, which is basically the 1.0 story, just retold with a little more details on what happened, the stuff that we didn't see.
But then it completely misses out on not Hovis. What's the other brat? Warburton. Was it called Warburton? Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting killed. It just sort of goes, and then there was a bad day. And Thancred knew Minfilia would never be happy again.
Because Warburton and Minfilia's story is one of the like backstories that was told for 2.0
I guess so, yeah.
on the website. So I don't think I feel like they don't need to.
They've already
don't
told
need
that part.
But it was a bit.
This story
jarring.
is about Thancred.
Yeah.
This story is not about Minfilia. We've
suppose,
had
yeah.
Minfilia's backstory before. This one, it's time for Thancred's chance to be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
I felt a bit sad when he got shut out of her house after taking her home. Like, look at this warm, lovely inside.
Yeah.
And then now he's back in the cold.
Yeah. It's like showing that he's not he can't be a part of that world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's basically the story, isn't it? And then they tell about the first. Again, I just keep remembering the end. I thought that was them, but there was the first thing. But that's it. One thing that I like though is it actually describes what happens in the trailer, where they are.
Yeah.
Which is like it was used as storage initially, and then it became a shelter to shelter people from the Sin Eaters. And now it had turned into a storage again, but mostly for like meal, like a pantry.
Did you think that was set up for a potential dungeon in like 5.1?
Possible, yeah.
Could happen.
Because it is a great place for a dungeon. Because Yulmore is Yulmore is weird. It'll be weird to have like a dungeon in like what is now a friendly zone.
They say that. I mean, there's been dungeons in friendly zones before, like Ralga's Reach and
that's true.
Kugane, but have dungeons. But
that's true.
Like
there might still be Sin Eaters down there.
Yeah, there might still be Sin Eaters now that Yulmore's in like the state of flux.
Yeah.
The idea that like the story could take place there as we help organize things for the future, it makes sense that there might be a dungeon in that area as well.
Yeah. Wait, could there still be Sin Eaters there? Sin Eaters.
I mean, it could be.
Okay.
Sin Eaters still exist.
Yeah.
They can't go through walls, so if they're trapped there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah, if it's locked, of course they can't leave. Right.
Like maybe Vorthri only was like one of the only people. Vorthri and Ranjit were like the only people that had access to go down there, and then like maybe we talk to a guard and it's like, oh, dangerous. Make it not dangerous, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fact that this.
Yeah, go on.
No, you go first.
There was like an explanation for why Thancred was wearing the white coat.
Yeah.
So that he would blend in better, because if he was like a knight in that world, he would probably don like a black outfit and he would stick out more.
He changed roles because he wants to protect.
Oh yeah, and he traded in his daggers for a gunblade.
I think that this is kind of a sign as to what we're going to get for the rest of the Tales of the Shadows. I think we're probably going to get a Y'shtola and an Urianger backstory.
Yeah.
Because there are, especially Urianger, there's a lot we don't know about his past.
Yeah.
Y'shtola, we know some, mostly to do with Matoya. But I think they will, like, in Y'shtola's, it will be a lead into how she ended up saving the Knights Blessed. Because we don't fully understand what happened with that fire like 3 or so years ago.
Yeah.
And then with Urianger, it will be how he ended up setting up shop in Ilmeg, essentially.
Yeah. I also just
I don't know what the other one would be.
No. Who? Well, it would be. Oh yeah, I don't know.
Possibly about Graha.
The Gristle. The
Could
Gristle
be
Exorcist.
about
the Crystal.
The Crystal Exile.
Yeah. Graha. That makes sense. Graha story.
Yeah.
Because that's a juicy one.
Sometimes it's nice being drip fed these like backgrounds of characters, but sometimes I wish they'd just release like a full novel about old lore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the Chronicles of Light is.
Yeah,
but that's just a collection of short tales again.
It does have some of the new. It does have some
new
content,
stories,
but I don't know what they
short
are.
stories.
Yeah.
I want
like a
complete
book.
story.
Yeah. Right. That's. I feel like there was something
really
else.
need to do MogMail.
Okay. Well,
even though there was the 5.0 patch notes.
Okay.
It's not worth it, is it? Really?
It's on.
There's a little bit in
on
there.
the overlay. We need to do it.
All right, fine. Go for it.
Patch 5. Oh, sorry. It's
Oh,
no
yeah.
spoilers now.
Yeah.
Okay. Patch 5.08 has been released, and with it came a few changes. Submersibles can no longer be deployed on exploratory missions when submersible speed is 0.
I didn't even know they could, but
How
I
is
didn't
that
know they
even
could either.
possible?
I assume it's not supposed to be possible, and that's why it's been changed.
Okay. In Domain Mahjong, the probability of weights occurring after a player discards a tile has been reduced.
don't even know
what
what that
that
means
means.
anymore.
No. I love that you said that in perfect sync. We just didn't know. Housing is now available in Spriggan and Twintanya on the European data centers, but only for free companies.
This is nice, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I like that they're giving free companies the opportunity to pick up housing before.
Yeah. Before the greedy fact.
Yeah.
Well, remember, this is also with the stipulation that people can't buy more than one house.
That's true.
Yeah. So it's just like 2.1.
Yeah. Except
Perfect.
far less expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should really raise the prices back up.
No.
honest.
Also, the high prices you're talking about was for Legacy, though. It was still high for other servers compared to what we have now, but
That's true.
this is a new server, so they should be low. Right. There's been adjustments to actions. So Ninja, I've heard that Ninja's not happy with this from Twitter. From what I've seen on Twitter, there's lots of like Ninja is fucked memes. I don't know if there's
I've heard it's just a band-aid. I don't think it's a real solution.
right, which is kind of what they said on the not live letter, but was it the live letter? It might have been no, it was just a pan. No, it was a live letter. I can't remember when they had that. One
Yeah, it was the live
slide.
letter. It was the Q&A. It was the Q&A live letter.
Right.
It was the most live letter.
Yes. So there's just some potency increases to Spinning Edge. I'm just not going to read it. It's just Spinning Edge, Gust Slash, Aeolian Edge, Shadow Fang, and Armor Crush potency increases. Bunshin, Shadow attack potency has been adjusted based on the attack performed. Melee attack potency 200, ranged attack potency 100, and area attack potency 100. Don't know why I had to read that one, but it looked different from the others. There's also some help text adjustments for that action, and that's it for Ninja. But from what we have, what Yoshi-P has already told us, bigger changes are coming. This is just a temporary fix to assist in DPS.
It's easier for them to play with potencies and other numbers rather than actual meaningful change during interim patches.
Samurai, the same stuff. Just potency increases across the board. Some recast times have been reduced, but other than that, no big changes, it seems like. Just potency increases. Arcanist and Summoner. Also potency increase, and there's additions.
Not really.
The additional effect if target so Ruin has been changed. That's what the base here is. The additional effect if target is suffering from a bio or miasma effect inflicted by you. Ruin potency is increased to 130 for one effect, or 180 for both, has been removed, and the base potency has been increased from 80 to 180.
It's essentially the same for all of the ruins that they've got listed here.
Yeah.
It's just they've taken away the Festa feature of Ruin and made it just a flat, always maximum potency, which makes it less punishing if Arcanists or Summoners can't necessarily keep their dots up for whatever reason. Right.
So they've simplified it, but still a buff, right?
Yes, I guess so.
Yeah. Also, the appearance of the ground in certain areas of the dungeon Mount Gulg has been adjusted. Wow. So you can actually see the AoEs now. It was too bright, too white.
Yes.
That has been fixed now. There are also some resolved issues, but I don't think there's any point going through those. I
don't think I saw anything that was that interesting.
No.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the patch notes. The last patch for the base Shadowbringers release.
Yes.
Now we wait for 5.1.
Oh, it's gonna be good.
It's only about 2 weeks before we'll find out more information.
Okay, let's read some MogMail then. We have a lot to go through, so let's jump into it. Rostel Evenhand from Balmung. Hey, it's on screen. I was just randomly thinking, it was just so long, I thought it was just going to say MogMail. I was just randomly thinking about the 14 show that is somehow in production, and an idea popped into my head about what it could be. I think it's safe to say it won't be an adaptation of the game as it currently stands, but the announcement specifically mentioned Sid as one of the series' staples that would appear. When I first heard this, my instinct was that it would be about Sid's youth in Garlemald, or that it would just be a different guy with the same name. That would be very strange. It just
I
occurred,
don't want that.
It just occurred to me now that there is a major part of the game that involves Sid, but isn't part of the game right now. Could this be Square Enix's way of giving players the story of 1.0 and the patches from there through end of an era in an official capacity without putting a legacy server up? We all know what a nightmare that idea is. I don't think this would be a direct adaptation, as the player character perspective wouldn't translate to as interesting a story as a more ensemble political drama would. Keeping vague about the things the player character does and just ascribing their deeds to adventurers, the Path of the 12, and Grand Company recruits would be fine. They can still show anything the player experiences through the Echo, of course, but they can avoid the confusions from 1.0's implementation of it by making them explicit flashbacks. And if they get more than one season, there's 5 whole years of 7th Umbral era we barely know anything about to explore. P.S. If the Warrior of Light is any of the 12, it's Zema, goddess of the sun, inquiry and protection, and just as likely to have really been either a woman or a man, given Azim the Dawn Father.
No, we're Oshon.
Stop. That is not.
Thanks, Russell.
We can't lock that down. Thank you, Russell.
I am locking it down.
Okay, that's fine. You can do that.
Mailer's official theory. I refuse to tie my name to it.
Okay.
I had forgotten they were making a 14 show.
Yeah, same.
It slipped my mind, but I would really
No,
like
it was always in the back of my mind.
It's like a constant
scaring
fear.
me.
Yeah.
If it's about Sid, then absolutely be great to see his up and his background.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Sid is the perfect character. Go on.
Yeah, if it's about Sid, there's less opportunity for them to have to include races that would look horrible in live action.
That's true.
Yeah.
Keep it in Garlemald, and they just have to pop a white Maltese on their forehead.
They might struggle with Biggs and Wedge, though, which I feel like they have to touch on in the
But
But
they
at
might
least
not
they've got
appear until
Jesse.
later into the
That's
story.
true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, and Sid is perfect because it's a character, if you know anything about Final Fantasy, it's the name Sid, probably. Like, you know that there's someone called Sid in Final Fantasy if you have some sort of knowledge about it. So it's perfect selling point to show, like, the main character is Sid. So, like, a non-14 player will go, I know Sid, I'll watch this. So, and there's, like they said, that there's lots of stuff with Sid that we know has happened, but that we haven't seen. There's that whole stuff that happened in Garlemald with the Bosja's Citadel, that stuff, the Meteor project that he basically sort of worked on initially. So that would be interesting, and of course retelling the 1.0 story. His journey from Garlemald to Eorzea.
Fantastic to watch.
Yeah. So
I'm watching him sort of going along with the Garlean regime and then like thinking, no, actually, this isn't right.
Yeah.
And then doing what he can to get out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the main factor behind that was seeing his father die for the project.
Yeah, probably true.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you don't really get any of that in game.
No.
That'd be great to be able to actually have a canon showcase of it.
Yeah.
What do you think of the idea of making 1.0 story live action show?
I think it'd be perfect because it would tell a story that Square Enix can't actually tell in their running game, because that's lost to us technically. So I think that would be great, and that it also gives them more room, because 1.0 was very open story-wise. There was a lot of plot holes that were expected to be filled in, but obviously never was. So I don't think a lot of people will complain if they change or add stuff to the lore, because that's what the story expected. It expected to be filled in. And think about the potential of what they can touch on if they actually use 1.0 as the base. They can bring up like Gelmora. They can bring up all of the stuff that they seem to be ready to touch on in 1.0 that they left when they went to Realmsborn. So I think that would be a great idea.
They would be able to distill it down to the things that matter.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Thank you, Rostel, for your MogMail.
Thank you.
We still we have to just accept Mala's theory about Oshon for the time being.
Do we?
No, we don't.
Not like you've got any better ones.
I can think of a few better ones, but the thing is, I don't want to lock in anything yet, because there's nothing. I don't have that like lamp moment. Like there's nothing concrete. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing.
Yeah.
Everything's so out there still.
We don't have enough evidence.
Right. There's the theory that the 12 are actually 13 because of Nald and Thal. There's the thing that the Asians are the actual 12 or the 13 or whatever you want to call it. There are many theories out there, and I'm just not ready to lock down any of them. Right. Next one. Zora Akari from Goblin.
Yay!
Hey there, speakers. I'm a relatively new player, having blasted through the MSQ in the 2 months, oh my god, leading up to Shadowbringers. It's all been brilliant, but I'm going back to the side content that I've missed, like Beast Tribes and Disciples of Land / Disciples of Hand stuff. My question is in regards to what Yoshi-P said about crafting and gathering in 5.1. We have the restoration of Ishgard coming up, but this will presumably be endgame Disciple of Hand and Land content, right? What about those players like myself that are now working on these jobs? I've finally got my mind. This is very. This is
relevant.
Perfect. Yeah, it's very relevant. I finally got my miner up to the 60s thanks to the collectibles and custom deliveries, making the grind much more bearable. Before that,
custom deliveries much better than collectibles.
Yeah. Before that, however, it was just fieldcraft and tradecraft leaves. Ugh. The idea of doing more not for the leaves. I was just thinking about Heavensward leaves. The idea of doing more leaves to get the other jobs up to 50 when it actually becomes a little less awful is very scary. How do you think they can improve the level 1 to 50 grind for gathering crafting jobs in 5.1? Yoshi-P said he wanted to help more players see the fun of gathering crafting, but in my mind, it's not been fun until custom deliveries. Honestly, if I got something more engaging than leaves, I'd be happy. Thanks again for all your... Oh my... Georgi! Thanks again for all your content. The minimum my level on the podcast are the highlights of my week. Uzora. Bless.
I know. So it's just like the idea of saying better than leaves just feels like a slap in your face.
Well, no, I agree.
Very funny to me.
I've always agreed that the way that they've left leaves in this game is sad. It is so much potential.
Oh, there's so many good ways they could make leveling better, though.
That's true. Yeah.
Firstly, they should make the XP reward for actually gathering go up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it doesn't go up hugely unless you really grind for it.
Yeah.
It's better to do the leaves on top of the grind and it goes up faster.
Mm-hmm.
But why not just have almost like a custom delivery person in each zone, and every day they get like a random fishing, botany, and mining node that they need each day from that zone. Yeah. And you can just infinitely turn them into them.
Mm-hmm.
It feels less like custom deliveries and more like Grand Company turns.
Well, yeah, it could be a Grand Company thing.
Yeah.
Or you can turn in X number a day to not... No, because they like putting gates on things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But something to... You can just grind the node. You don't have to wait on nodes very much.
I'm not against that.
Yeah,
do leaves. You just go out, grab what you want,
mm-hmm.
hand it in and get XP en masse.
Yeah.
especially for Heaven's Return.
Just want to answer the first part. It's already been answered in this podcast, though, that you will be able to join the Ishgard Restoration sub 80. So
Don't worry.
yeah, you can level through that. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add to that. Just make leveling better for gathering, especially. Crafting is very easy to level, in my opinion. The exception being 50 to 60.
To 60.
Which is the Ishgard leave stuff. Because that is awful EXP.
Because unfortunately, you can't level your gatherers via the Beast Tribe quests.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I agree, sort of, but I think crafting is more boring to level than gathering, because gathering you can sort of just mindlessly do it while watching something or listening to a podcast or something, whereas I think crafting requires
just make a macro.
Your macro.
Yeah.
I don't like leveling.
The thing with gathering is that with gathering you have to pick up your 3 gathering leaves, and then you have to go to the zone.
Oh god, that's true. Yeah.
Find that green.
Yeah.
Sometimes the green circles are like separate, like on different sides of the map.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, I have to do this, and then you have to deliver it. Go back, deliver, and then you know that the next 3 will be just the same. And you have to wait for your GP to get back up. You have to wait for your GP to go back up so you can do the bountiful harvest or whatever.
It's much like high. What are they called? High cordials.
Yeah.
Are much easier to obtain than they used to be.
Yeah, but they have long cooldowns.
When cordials didn't even exist.
High cordials have a shorter cooldown than regular cordials.
Yeah, I know, but still not short enough. Still
no, I
to
agree.
wait for them.
But it's very weird.
Yeah. With crafting, you can literally just stand in the same place, and you'll know what leave you need. You have all the mats, and you
can do it all at once.
Yeah, and especially the ones that you can deliver 3 at a time on 1 leave.
That's true.
Perfect.
Sort of says a lot about the game when the best way to level is just to spam one recipe over and over again.
Yeah.
It's not really about crafting anymore, is it?
Well, I mean, when you're high enough, that's when the challenge begins. You know, that's
Excuse
when
me?
Sorry.
Yeah,
when you've capped your max level, that's sort of when the challenge begins. Don't clip that.
That's true.
Don't clip that, you bastards. Right. Thank you, Ozora.
You should make friends with them.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Next one is from Pamela Sirencloud from Sargatanus. Hey, oh yeah, this one. Hey, big fan of Xenos here. Just wanted to mention that his 2D personality is what I love about Xenos. His sole attention to the Warrior of Light as a person instead of a tool of war, Gopher, which is what I felt like all of Stormblood, the Stormblood expansion. As an example of other likable 2D personality villains that are loved and feared are Joker, Darth Vader, and who's that? Frieza from Dragon Ball Z. Oh, of course. What I love about Xeno is that he respects those that can stand up to him. Didn't matter what side they were on, just had to match him. I was really excited to see him back alive since Xenos is a wild card in the plot. The fact that Xenos does not want anyone in the way between himself and the Warrior of Light makes it currently unpredictable what Xenos will do to make sure the Warrior of Light lives to face Xenos again. The name is repeated a lot. Or even what Xenos will push the Warrior of Light to face to make the Warrior of Light stronger. Woo!
I mean,
okay.
I am with you, Pamela. I don't think I quite like Xenos as much as you. I don't think anyone quite likes Xenos quite as much. But I like him as a character in general, and I don't know why people are so against him suddenly. Very suddenly.
I do have to say, I don't know if I agree with your example of two-dimensional villains.
Same. The listed 2D villains have a pretty deep backstory, so I don't know if I agree with that.
Fair.
But okay.
And like chat points out, I think as soon as Emmett showed up, everyone suddenly remembered how much they hate Xenos.
No. So
but at the time they were all loving
here's
him.
where Xenos... No. Don't you ascribe me with loving Xenos until Emet Selch. The moment I turned on Xenos was when he came back.
No, that's fair enough. But the original
He
Xenos
should have
during
died.
Stormblood was good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that completed his arc. He was
agree.
done.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But as a character, he was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fine. He's not amazing in my opinion, but I never hated him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
And also, when they brought him back, they literally skipped all of the stuff in between, and he was just back. Like, we knew he was wandering around in an Ellison body, and then, boom, he's back in his body, killing the Emperor.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I want to know if he knew that he would respawn in someone else's body when he killed him.
Yeah.
That's an actually interesting question about his current state.
Yeah. There might be a short story, that's true. Maybe they'll do that. That's a bit of a cop-out for one of the game's biggest villains to skip.
Yeah, I would prefer to know what
I was hoping for, but we talked about this before. I feel like that was a
Xenos
lost
needs
chapter.
character development.
Yes, he does. Even though I understand the fact that he kills to kill and all that, that's fine. But we need to see more. After a while, it'll get old very fast.
Yeah.
Why is he like how he is?
Yes. What made him this way?
Yeah. How did his childhood and him growing up cause him to be this way?
Yeah.
That's a necessary.
I understand.
Bit of character
We
development.
don't need like a masterpiece of a like backstory. That's fine. It's just that right now, Xenos is a pop-up villain.
In a way, yeah.
He's there to progress the plot, and that's it.
Apparently, Xenos has a backstory, a story in the Chronicles of Light.
That doesn't matter.
Oh.
It's not in the game.
No, I agree, but I'm
We
surprised.
can't just point at other publications to be like, that was in that collection of short stories.
Yeah, I want
Should be in the game.
What a Sediment brought up. I think that $4. Like, I know people are like worried that $4 is not going to be relevant. I think $4 and Aaron Ball will be relevant to sort of elaborating on Xenos in the future to a certain extent.
Yeah. We will see. Maybe 5.1 is the patch where we learn more about Xenos. Maybe that's where it all happens.
I don't want that yet.
No, it might be too soon for that, but we'll see. Right. Let's take one last one before we, I think... there's so many left. Right.
Should we do the short one?
Which is the short one?
Number 8.
It's more work.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, but no, let's not. Let's do this chronologically, otherwise I'll mess this up. This one's fairly short too. Okay. Yes, sorry about the dead air. Sana, how do I pronounce this? Oh, Satonus. From Sargatanas. Now that we're all talking about the 12 and the time before Hydaelyn, I wanted to re-raise an age-old question. What's with Ramuh? He implicated that he was around at a time before light and dark existed, before man was born. We already strongly suspect that he is, or was, or is somehow tied to Ralgar. And now we think that Ralgar was probably someone who was involved in summoning Hydaelyn, and Ramuh had a crystal of light. It also relates to the Warrior of Light as one of the 12 theory, because if Ramuh is in fact Ralgar, then we definitely cannot be. So we cannot be just whichever 12 we chose at character creation. Is it possible that the 14th is not among the 12 at all? The 14th? An example did not die in the summoning, but was tasked with living to witness what followed. Oh, sorry, the 14th from Amarat.
I don't
No,
see how Ramuh existing means that we can't be Ramuh. Because that's not the real one.
Right.
That's true. He's not necessarily Ralgar.
Yeah, this is like a
he's not necessarily Ralgar just roaming around the world while all the others are dead. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because we're Russian.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. We talked about Ramuh. I think when we first got this MogMail, I think we did what we're not supposed to. I think we discussed this off air. I feel like we've talked about Ramu off air at some point, and now I just can't remember what we talked about. Ramu. No, yeah, when we talked about the sylphs and all that, right? We've talked about this. I don't know. Yeah, go on.
I think this is interesting, that this could bring up something that we could go into do in the future, which would be to go back to the sylphs and talk to them about what they believe about Ramu and how that might lead into if the 12 are the people that summoned Heidelin originally.
Yeah.
True.
Because the sylphs are one of the few people that we have, like, I don't really know the lifespan of a sylph. So I feel like they're one of the people, like, races that might know the most about the original 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're who that we think they are.
Yeah. Because we've already mentioned that the Mughals as well might know more than...
Oh, the Mughals must know something.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be the first time we've gone back to interact with old Beast Tribe races like we did before Stormblood.
Right.
With Gabu and also the Exile in Zelfatol.
Yeah. 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 We'll again, not much evidence to back this up yet other than our theories.
We'll have to see what we get in point 1.
See, I don't think that the deity that you pick at the beginning can be tied to anything. I have since gone away from my initial theory about that.
Good.
Because
welcome to my side.
No, I'm not on your side yet. Because the deities actually made sense back in 1.0, and it's just a leftover mechanic from then, which doesn't really do anything now. You get like 2 stats up or whatever. Isn't it like something incredibly insignificant?
You gain some bonuses to elemental resistance and then you become weaker to another element.
Do you still get the elemental resistance
Not
now
anymore.
that we don't have
No, we don't have it anymore.
Nothing.
But I always refused people who were fire. They lost fire resistance for my Ifrit parties. If they had the wrong deity, they weren't in.
But the thing about Ramu being around saying that he was around from a time before Light and Dark is very supporting of the idea that he is Ralga.
Yeah.
And maybe that Ralga, the 12 were the people that summoned Heidelin.
But why?
Just more evidence, boys.
Yeah, but why? So why is only Ralga about? Does Ramu know that he is a version of Ralga?
Possibly because Sylphic lore in the lore book specifically relates to that more so that might be implanted into his creation more than necessarily our understanding of the 12.
Okay.
Because our understanding of the 12 doesn't necessarily relate to what we understand of the pre-sundered world.
Right. Well, it's very interesting. I hope... The thing that's funny to me is that we might be completely off course.
Oh, yeah.
I have a sneaking suspicion that we might be discussing something that has no relation to anything that's about to come. So
I'm all for that because it means we've distracted ourselves from what actually happens. It'll be more of a surprise.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Well, that's the show. Thank you to Minimum Eye Level. Goodness. Well, what's left?
Thank you.
I don't even know where the notes are anymore.
Sanacetonis.
Thank you.
Sanacetonis.
Thank you very much. Can we just pick a dungeon? Because I honestly don't know where I put it.
It's Copperbell and Wanderers.
Copperbell.
Flip a coin.
Flip a coin? Like I have a coin available.
Flip the Allen key.
I will... Okay. Oh, you know what? I'll put it on the table, and if it flips towards me, it'll be Copperbell, and if it flips towards the keyboard, it'll...
Clever.
Yeah? I solved
that.
Very smart.
Okay. It's now level on the table. 3... Well, you guys can't see this, which is... Okay.
We'll have to just trust you.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. 3, 2, 1. It flipped towards the monitor.
So that means it's hard.
Oh. Will
you want
be
to do Copper Bell
fine.
hard again?
Yeah, Copper Bell was painful. I think Copper Bell's going to be the biggest challenge as
I
streamer.
agree.
And next week we might have Rollo
on,
back,
Rollo.
so it might
Rollo,
actually be doable.
come back, Rollo.
Yeah.
And then we'll give ourselves a modifier that makes it impossible again.
Yeah. Can't wait to do that without my job crystal and then watch as we all die because I can't fucking do anything. Okay. That's the show. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Speakers of Eidolon, episode 159. Remember to follow us on Twitter at SpeakersXIV, twitch.tv/Speakers of Eidolon, youtube.com/SpeakersXIV, exclamation Discord if you're watching live. If you're watching on demand or listening, link is in the description. Send us MogMail, speakersxiv.com/MogMail. And if you're watching live right now, stay tuned for the post-show. We will be talking about a little bit about Guild Wars 2. And what else is there?
Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh, Final Fantasy VIII, and then we'll watch a cursed video. So there's that.
Could even watch 2.
Okay, see you then if you're watching live. Bye!
Bye.